In our next edition of the Integrative Hermetic Health Show, Doctor Rodier, an MD with an integrative medicine perspective, will discuss a very promising article validating our many previous discussions of physicians' general lack of knowledge of nutrition. Here's a clip where Dr. Irvin Sani discusses his experience and point of view on the problem.
So one of the things you can do is, change your diet. To stay healthy. Diet has a big impact on it. One of the quotes that you gave us last year for the quest was, I said, how much education did you get in medical school on nutrition? You said, right. Pretty much none.
Pretty much none. Let's expound upon that. I don't know how it is now. You would hope that it would be better, but I'm not so sure that it is. And this all goes back to, I think, something you did talk about in one of the episodes. It was the Flexner Report. Mm-hmm. And basically how corporate America, once again, intervened, limited people's choice, controlled the narrative, and basically influenced on what kind of medical education the doctors get. But the current medical education, and I went to one of the best medical schools in the country, Baylor College of Medicine. It's an outstanding school, but this is what they taught, and we spent inordinate amount of time in basic science. There's basic science and there's clinicals. The basic science is the first portion of medical school where you learn science. You learn out of a book, basically sit in a classroom. And we went on and on and on about all kinds of different pharmaceutical drugs. We did have a nutrition course, and basically here's vitamin D, and here's the molecule, and here's the mechanism of vitamin D, and here's how someone gets rickets, that kind of thing. But not here's how to eat, or you should tell your patients to eat this way, or eat naturally, or synthetic vitamins versus natural vitamins, or anything along those lines. And it was literally a few days maybe, that we cover that kind of stuff. I mean, certainly vitamin D might come up a couple times again, but we're talking about the molecule and metabolism, and that's important information, but that's not learning nutrition, and that's not learning practically how to educate someone. Just like they don't teach doctors a thing about business, and then they ultimately come out, and a lot of them suffer for that reason, trying to run their own business. And so, who knows, maybe that's by design as well. But, anyway, different topic. But certainly the education that we get concerning nutrition is non-existent. It was non-existent. Pretty much none is probably an overstatement.
Pretty much none?
Yeah, pretty much none is too much. Yeah, because I didn't really understand practical nutrition, if you will, until well after med school, until after being in practice.
So you learned it after school?
Sure.
After you got out of medical school?
Which is very normal as a doctor. There's a lot of surgical procedures that I've learned because, we don't go back to residency every time a new procedure comes out.
Sure.
We have to be able to re-educate ourselves. But the person has to be willing to endeavor in that re-education. And so, I told you the story. We'll talk about it again. When I was in the midst of losing weight, I was juicing, and so many different ways to do it. There's so many different healthy ways to do it. I chose intermittent fasting and I chose juicing, and I was going green and raw and trying to stay away from processed foods and so forth. And I ran into a doctor in the doctor's lounge at a hospital here locally, and we talked about this. And I said, hey, if you lose weight, you get off diet, just sort of talked about the benefits. And he goes, well, why would you do that? He goes, I'm just going to eat my cheese nachos and take my cholesterol medicine.
In our program, we'll bring our audience up to speed on how bad the problem still is. Lack of adequate knowledge about nutrition in both doctors and patients is holding our national health care in hostage. Further, we discuss this disturbing CBS report about a recent study showing some very serious problems regarding a connection between teenagers' mental health and social networking. Please join us for a stimulating discussion with Dr. Rodier about the critical need for nutritional training for physicians and the potential danger for teenage obsession with social media.